How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video, and it seems we have an update from the FTC in regarding their pursuit to stop Microsoft merging with Activision. And that update is one that's going to be pleasing to the ears, pleasing to the eyes, because it is officially confirmed the FTC has dropped the case. That means that the only regulator out there in the world right now that is having a problem outside of New Zealand, who's already expired with their, well, not expired, but has auto-completed apparently without even making a statement, so I'm assuming they passed, but at this point I don't think anyone really cares, is the UK CMA. So yeah, it's a bit of a yikes situation for the UK. Now they are being singled out as the only regulator in the world that actually has a problem with this, and now all eyes are on the CMA. So if we go to the actual tweet and the actual document, we can get further into this. Now, as you can see from here, the FTC has now published Microsoft and Activision's motion to put the FTC in-house adjudicative proceeding on hold. This is the one that was going to take place on August the 2nd. Now, this is the actual document itself. There's a lot of information here, as you can see, but essentially it's only 8 pages long. The conclusion here is, for reasons stated above, respondents respectfully request that the Commission grant their motion for withdrawal of this matter from the adjudication in order to consider whether the public interest warrants further litigation. Essentially, is it worth wasting taxpayers' money to only lose again? That is basically what they're asking here. And as Florian says here, there is no near-term or even mid-term risk. It's all about conserving resources and not wasting taxpayers' money at this point. They've already been, they've already lost 3 times during the appeal. So it's pretty, self-sustained at this point to not bother wasting their time. And hopefully that will actually come through and they've actually learned their lesson. But if we continue down, it says the basis is that the FTC failed in federal court, which we know, including its emergency motion that was thrown out by the Ninth Circuit. I mean, at this point is when we all agreed that the FTC had officially finally lost after they filed their emergency one. And even the one with the gamers one that just got thrown out instantly. The motion also highlights the Sony agreement. If that's not the final nail in the coffin of the FTC's case, what else could be? Considering the FTC's case completely hinged on Sony PlayStation, with Sony having signed the agreement, that pretty much was the final nail in the coffin. That pretty much spelled game over. The FTC literally had no case. They didn't argue about cloud. They didn't argue about anything. They argued about, the harm to the market, the harm to the consumer, the harm to Sony PlayStation. Well, actually, they didn't argue about any harm to the consumer. They only argued about harm to Sony PlayStation. But with Sony having signed the agreement this week, last weekend, well, that pretty much threw that out the window as well. The FTC literally had they had no leg to stand on. But if you are enjoying this content and you want to see more like this, more reactionary videos, more news videos regarding games, do consider hitting that like button. Hit that subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. I am trying to get to 3,000, so with your help, that would be absolutely amazing. I am trying to grow this channel. I am trying to, provide as much news updates as possible throughout the day. So hopefully you're enjoying the content, and if you are, do consider supporting. It's free, and it does help with the YouTube algorithm and, of course, the YouTube rankings. So thank you so much. Now on with the video. The motion is based on a statute, the FTC Act, that literally says that merging parties can request a withdrawal of an FTC in-house case when a Court of Appeals has denied a commission motion for a relief pending appeal. That is the case here. Ninth Circuit did it. So essentially what was going to happen on August 2nd was that the FTC was going to go in-house and actually have their own court with their own judge, with their own lawyers inside. And I mean, obviously they're not gonna argue to themselves and lose, right? This whole process is weird to me. I know someone in the chat can probably explain to me why this has happened, how this even came about. But from my understanding is the FTC internally picks their own judge, their own lawyers, and then they go to the judge and explain to the judge that they picked, who's on their payroll, and says, hey, look, this is the reason why we think you should block this, and this is the reason why these are bad. And the judge says, well, I'm on your payroll, so I'm going to say okay to what you're saying because I'm on your payroll. Unless I'm misunderstanding this, that's crazy, right? That's bonkers. But they've basically thrown it out the window. The motion recalls the enormous effort that was made in San Francisco, the witnesses, but also that the FTC submitted a total of 851 exhibits to the district court. That's a lot of items to exhibit, to distribute and submit, including evidence not directly raised during the hearing. So, this was raised during the hearing and outside of the hearing, so that's mental. Indeed, the commission has not proceeded with a Part 3 trial following a district court denial of a motion for a preliminary injunction in more than 3 decades, and it has never done so in connection with a vertical merger challenge. Now, this FTC is somewhat special. Note that this is not for Chief Administrative Law Judge D. Michael Chappell to decide. The motion was filed with the Commission, i.e. the 3 Democratic commissioners who brought the complaint in the first place. I have hope, but I'm not sure. And again, over here he says, I have explained in today's Twitter Space, recording here, the UK process will be finished soon enough that the FTC can't cause any problems before the deal is closed. Will they now seek a forced divestiture further down the road? They wouldn't succeed. Now, if they decide down the road to request a forced divestiture for Activision because they believe Microsoft is getting too big, that's not blocking the deal. That is essentially basically saying, right, Microsoft, you are getting too big. We want to basically split you up and break the company down a little bit because you're just too big for your own good. But this is where we're at right now. The FTC basically now isn't going to block the deal. They've basically succumbed. They've lost the preliminary injunction. They lost the emergency appeal. The gamers lawsuit also lost their Hail Mary. And considering Sony has signed over the weekend, it just seems completely pointless for them to attempt again, considering the whole process of their case was based around console harm. Well, with Sony having signed, that's gone out the window, completely and utterly out the window, because now Sony have agreed to basically play ball. And as Judge Corley said, had Sony signed the agreement, we wouldn't be here in the first place. But we are here because Sony isn't signing the agreement. Now that Sony has signed the agreement, what grounds does the FTC have? Now, what Florian Mueller here is saying about the divestiture is that, 6 months down the line, the FTC may look at Microsoft and decide, hey, remember you humiliated us? Well, we're going to cause you a bit of headache now because we actually want you to divest Activision Blizzard entirely. And Microsoft, to be fair, has actually agreed that this is something that they would consider down the road if it actually came to it, and they really wouldn't have a problem if they had to go down that road, because in the end, all they want to do is buy Activision Blizzard. They want King because King is dirty money, and they want to be able to put those games onto Game Pass and actually provide a better service for Game Pass so they can increase those numbers to Game Pass Ultimate, increase those subscriptions. So for them, that is the goal. But the FTC is done. They've given up, they've pulled out, and they've said, you know what? Enough's enough. We get the hint. It's done. We're not going to pursue this anymore. Good luck to you in the future. This is something that we're not going to waste any more taxpayers' money on, and we are done. That's it. We gave it our best, and it wasn't good enough. Microsoft, you win. So all eyes now are on the CMA, who is now the only regulator in the world to actually have a problem with this merger, and they're doing it based on cloud, And hopefully with Microsoft divesting the cloud, that will mean that there's literally no reason to block this deal, because by divesting the cloud and giving it to UK Communications Cloud, yep, I'm still using that. Well, at that point, because it becomes a separate entity and a separate thing entirely and completely separate to the Microsoft and ABK merger and to, Game Pass Ultimate, at that point, there is literally nothing there that the CMA has in its arsenal to, delay, block, or withhold this deal. Nothing. So hopefully this will go through in the next 3-4 weeks. And if there's any updates, you can rest assured that I'll have them here. That said, please do consider leaving a sub. It really does mean the world to me as the channel continues to grow. The more subs I get, the more likes I get, the more YouTube recommends these videos to other people. More subs just means more opportunities for me in the future with sponsorships, with opportunities with different gaming publishers. So I do appreciate every bit of your support. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Remain legend.